Hello, welcome to the Bay Area Case Studies Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us for this session. A few quick housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your cameras and microphones are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This presentation is being recorded. It'll be available within about a week at strivescan.com/BACS, B-A-C-S. Very quickly, this is another 6x6 session, 6 schools presenting for 6 minutes each. There is no way you can make an informed decision about where you want to go to school just getting 6 minutes from one school. But the idea here is to get you interested, and you might be interested in all 6 of these schools. And the idea is that it'll whet your appetite for more. So more might be a one-on-one with a representative, or a virtual tour, or a combination of all those things. So that's what the 6x6 is about. And you'll get some great information over the next 45 minutes. I've gotten the housekeeping stuff out of the way, so I'm going to step out of the way now. Turn it over to our first presentation from Case Western Reserve University.
Very good. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here tonight. My name is Tom Fanning, Senior Associate Director of Undergraduate Admission at Case Western Reserve, located the beautiful banks of Lake Erie, the north coast of the United States. Lake big enough that you can't see across, so it might as well be an ocean. But yes, we are located in Cleveland, Ohio, a school of 5,200 undergraduates, and we have about 6,000 graduate level students in our multiple PhD programs, the med school, the dental school, the law school, and all the professional programs. So we recruit and enroll students from around the world, and very happy to be here tonight to tell you a little bit more about ourselves. First thing I want to talk about is the academic offerings. The university is divided into 4 undergraduate colleges: the College of Arts and Sciences, our School of Engineering, the Weatherhead School of Management, and the Francis Payne Bolton School of Nursing. So 96 different programs spread amongst all those different colleges, and all of the different genres of discipline on your screen now would be represented at Case Western Reserve. But we're an institution where some of our larger departments include biomedical engineering, which is the largest. In fact, frankly, all of the engineering areas at Case Western Reserve are large. Computer science is a large department. Biology. We have a lot of pre-professional students, pre-med and pre-dent, pre-pharmacy, and all of those healthcare areas. We have our own medical school, dental school, and law schools. Psychology is a large department. Finance from the Weatherhead School of Management. But again, 96 different areas of study at Case Western Reserve. One thing that might be interesting about the way the curriculum works for us is that if you are applying to Case Western Reserve, you're applying to the university and not necessarily to a specific department or specific school. So it's simply a single door admit policy. So if you're admitted, you can move around the curriculum, you can double major across different colleges of the university. And it's very attractive to a lot of students who absolutely love going to Case Western Reserve. You'd be shocked at how many of our engineers are musicians and artists, or how many of our humanities students are thinking about medical school, or business majors taking STEM classes because they want to work for a tech company someday. So that's the flexibility in the curriculum that a lot of students love about Case Western Reserve. We're also a top-tier research institution. We have data that says 84% of our undergraduates are involved in academic research that, should that lead to a publication, you're talking about a name on paper, a name on journal article, and that's kind of the coin of the realm in higher education. So with 5,200 undergrads, your opportunity to be involved in research early and often is pretty profound at Case Western Reserve. So people love that about our institution as well. And we have the resources to be that kind of institution. One of the more famous stops on a tour of campus is the Sears Think Box. This is the largest academic makerspace under one roof in the country. 7 stories of 3D printers and high-end machine tools for you to bring your great ideas to life. We're the kind of school that has a big footprint every year at the Consumer Electronics Show and at South by Southwest Entrepreneurship Challenge. So if you're an inventor, maybe we're the place for you with the kind of resources that we can offer. We also want to talk about Cleveland. Cleveland is a big part of your existence at Case Western Reserve. Downtown Cleveland, home to Fortune 500 companies, NASA Glenn Research Center is in Cleveland. All the athletic teams and Playhouse Square, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. People head downtown. It's about 5 miles from our neighborhood in Cleveland proper to get downtown. And if you came to Case Western Reserve, you will become a Cleveland lover, even if you weren't when you got there, because you're going to use the city. But if you decided you didn't want to go downtown and you stayed 5 miles away in our neighborhood called University Circle, you might love that as well. Surrounding us not only would be our institution, but all of the cultural institutions in Cleveland intersperse the campus. The Cleveland Museum of Art is at the end of the street. That's 40,000 masterworks, free and open to the public 6 days a week. Severance Hall, home to Cleveland's orchestra, one of the big 5 in the country, plays right on our campus next door to our library. In addition to that, we're surrounded by 3 major hospitals, the University Hospitals, the Cleveland VA, and the #2 hospital in the country, according to US News, the Cleveland Clinic. So anybody doing healthcare rotations or anything clinical is going to be working with all these facilities, and you're going to pass by them on the way to the dining hall or your residence halls. So if this piques your interest and you're looking at Case Western Reserve University, realize that we use the Common Application or the Coalition application as our platform for applying. Holistic review, we look at everything in your file. We are test optional through fall of 23. When you do apply, we are a school that will meet full financial need if you file the right forms. And we're also a school that offers merit scholarship to about 1/3 of our offers of admission go out the door with merit offers based on your high school records. If you're going to apply, there are program plans that you can choose from, amongst them including early action, regular decision, early decision, and then the pre-professional scholars program, which is our conditional admit program to medical and dental schools. So if you know that's your path, that's a nice program to which to apply. So I'm going to end here, and I thank you for listening. Hope we piqued your interest in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'll put my contact information in the chat room. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you have questions for any of our representatives, use the Q&A button at any point. You can do that. If it's for a specific school, name the school in your question. Up next, let's hear from the University of Denver.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christy Stadema. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission at the University of Denver, and I'm simply thrilled to be here with you all this evening. So hopefully I can share a little bit about DU and pique your interest. So showing you a beautiful picture of campus. Our campus is located in Denver, Colorado. We're about 6 miles south of city center, but you can see the mountains there in the background. It takes about 60 minutes to get into the mountains, and there's about countless foothill hikes about like 35 minutes away from campus. And then we're about 6 minutes or 15-minute light rail ride away from downtown. So you get the best of all the worlds and get a chance to enjoy the great outdoors as well as a really cool urban area. To give you a picture of what our campus community feels like, about 94% of our first-year students will live on campus. They typically live on campus 2 years. We have several different residence halls to choose from, one of which is a brand new Demond Family Residential Village that just opened up this year right next to our brand new community commons, a central dining facility. And just to know too that there's a ton of opportunities to get out. Denver's actually got a really fun food scene, so lots of restaurants to check out in various parts of the city, some of which are really, really close to campus as well. Academically speaking, we are a mid-sized institution of around 11,000 students, 5,700 undergrad, 5,900 grad. Our average class size is 22, and our student-faculty ratio is 12:1. We have a personalized approach to education at DU. 99.9% of our courses are taught by actual professors holding their terminal degree in their area of study. So you have access to the professors that have done the research in the field, have presented at national conferences. They're going to know you. They're going to be people that you can come to ask for those letters of recommendation because they've actually taught your classes and know you by name and are available not only just in office hours, but out for coffee, out for dinner. They're available to our students. You're not necessarily working with teaching assistants at DU. We offer over 100 different academic programs in 5 different academic divisions, so definitely take some time to check out what those options are. But broadly, our international studies, business, hospitality school, pre-med, engineering, the list goes on and on. I will let you do your research in that regard. But one thing that's particularly distinctive about the quarter system, or about DU, is our quarter system. So students will come to campus right after Labor Day and they'll study for 10 weeks. There's a 6-week-long winter break right after Thanksgiving. It's long enough you can study abroad or do an internship or go to the mountains for a few weeks and then head home. So our students love our winter breaks and coming up with elaborate plans for that. Students then will come back to campus, study for another 10 weeks, and then wrap up our spring quarter right after that. So it's 3 10-week quarters comprising that full academic year. There is a summer quarter, which is completely optional. So a couple things to know about the quarter system: it moves really quickly. Okay, so no procrastinators. You got to stay on top of your work, but it's something that allows our students to squeeze in a couple majors, a couple minors. You can just squeeze in a little bit more during your 4 years at DU. We want to make sure that you're getting some outside of the classroom opportunities to, maybe you just want to try some things and figure out what you want to do, or maybe you know exactly what you want to do and you need to start building your resume in that regard. 80% of our students will do at least 1 internship, 50% do 2 or more. So we really do a great job of making sure that you're getting those hands-on learning experiences either in the city or surrounding community, or across the country or abroad. This is a huge part of what draws students to DU. 77% of our students will study abroad. That puts us 3rd in the whole country in terms of the percentage of our student body that studies abroad. So on our campus, it's not, are you going to study abroad, but where are you going to go and what are you going to do when you get there? Our Cheering to Global Scholars program is a pretty distinctive program in that any junior with a minimum of a 3.0 GPA can study abroad for the same cost as what it would be for them to attend DU for that quarter. So translation, scholarships travel with you, financial aid travels with you, we'll cover your flights, your program fees, sometimes even immunizations. So we really take down those financial barriers that typically prohibit students from studying abroad. We also have a ton to do on campus in terms of student organizations, fraternity and sorority life. About 30% of our student population participates in that. We have 18 Division I sports. Hockey is our major spectator sport. We typically go to the Final Four every year. So we don't have football, baseball, or track, but hockey, lacrosse, and soccer are kind of the main spectator sports at DU. Our gymnastics team typically kicks some butt too, which is fun. But a number of student organizations our largest student organization is our Alpine Club, and they simply do anything and everything to get students into the great outdoors. So we want to make sure that you have access to the Rockies and all the national parks and National Park Service land available. To give you a picture of what our admitted student profile looks like, you can see our middle 50% here. We do encourage our students to apply and to see where it goes. But if you have particular questions about what that entails, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'll drop my information in the chat, but we would love for you to come check out DU and enjoy the 300 days of sunshine we get in Denver. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Q&A is where you can ask questions of our representatives. You can do that at any time. And as Christy mentioned, check out the chat. That's where information from the representatives will be coming to you. And there's already something there, so make sure you pay attention to that as well. Up next, we'll hear from Scripps College.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. So my name is Jessica Johnston. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm an associate director of admission at Scripps College. We're located in Claremont, California, about 35 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. So not too far away, but just far enough away that you can kind of leave the nest and start off on your own. So I want to highlight 3 things about Scripps tonight. One is our membership in the Claremont Colleges Consortium. Second is our curriculum. And then the third is the fact that we're a women's college. So starting with the Claremont Colleges. So there are 5 undergraduate liberal arts colleges, all literally across the street from each other. We take up 1 square mile. So it's us Pomona College, Pitzer College, Harvey Mudd College, and Claremont McKenna College. Again, all across the street from each other. So as a Scripps student, you can take classes on the other campuses. You can, generally speaking, major in things taught on the other campuses. You can go to events elsewhere, join clubs elsewhere, go to any of the dining halls. So you can mix and mingle basically as much as you like or not. It's totally up to you. So moving on to talk about some of the things that make us unique from our neighbors. The first is our curriculum. So it's called the Core Curriculum in Interdisciplinary Humanities. It's a bit of a mouthful, so we just call it CORE. This is a 3-course sequence that is designed to give you a foundation in interdisciplinary thinking, looking at a big idea from lots of academic points of view so that you get a better understanding of that topic as a whole, and so you can start to see the relationships between seemingly unrelated academic fields. This is a series of courses that are just for Scripps students. So with cross registration at the Claremont colleges, you will likely have students from the other colleges in most of your classes on the Scripps campus, but not these 3. So the first one I want to highlight in particular, this is called Core 1. It is by far the biggest class you'll take at Scripps because it's taught to the entire first year class all at one time. So you have lecture once a week with everybody and then discussion sections twice a week. Those are significantly smaller, around 15 to 20 students or so, kind of depends on the year, and very much discussion based. We want you to be able to actually sit down and talk about the things that you learned in lecture and in your readings. You'll be with the same group of students the entire semester, as well as the same faculty member. We don't have any graduate student TAs or anything like that because we don't have any graduate students. So each week the lecture will be given by a different professor from a different department, all on one big overarching theme. So that theme rotates every few years. Right now the theme is truth. In previous years it's been community, violence, human nature, and human difference. So again, always something really, really broad. And then you'll get that interdisciplinary look all at this one idea by hearing from usually between 15 and 18 different faculty, depending on the year. So really great start to get exposure to a lot of different departments as well. And then finally, we're a women's college. So this definitely makes us very different from our neighbors and just different in general. There are very few women's colleges left in the US and actually in the world. So we are one of the few and the proud. So in a lot of ways, your day-to-day life at a women's college is not going to be dramatically different than at a small liberal arts college, because we're also a small liberal arts college. A lot of those same principles are going to apply. But there are some things that we just think about a little bit differently, like implicit bias as it relates to gender in our classrooms. How do we combat that? We think about how faculty are teaching. Are they teaching in a way that's conducive to the way in which women learn? And then one of the best things to me about being at a women's college is that everybody, whether it's students, faculty, or staff, we've all made this intentional choice to join a community that is dedicated to the success and empowerment of women. And that's really what we're all about. And if you really think about it, there aren't necessarily a ton of organizations or schools or whatever out there that can say they are dedicated to the success and empowerment of women in the same way that a women's college can. Like, we just have a different mission than pretty much anybody else out there. And so since everybody is opting into that, there's a certain level of buy-in that this is something that we all value and is important to us. Even just in my professional career, not as a student, the opportunities that I've been given, I think have been different from what I might have gotten at a co-ed school, because my supervisors believe in giving me the chance to grow and try new things and maybe make a mistake sometimes, but still they'll be there to pick me up and support me. That's exactly how our community works as a whole. It's a challenging place and it's a supportive place. And I love that our students understand that success is not a zero-sum game, that your accomplishments don't take away from mine. We can both be awesome and inspire each other and be inspired by our peers. That's what being at a women's college is all about. I do want to point out a couple of admissionly things here. First is that we are test optional. This is a new thing for us, but it is a permanent change. So when we see the word optional, at least at Scripps, optional means optional. Do not feel the need to send us your test scores. Absolutely 100%. We do also meet 100% of your family's demonstrated financial need. So you can see more details about that on the financial aid website. And we do have merit scholarships. All admitted students are automatically considered for those scholarships. They range from $15,000 to $28,000, renewable for all 4 years, and there's no special application process or anything like that. So Thank you very much. I look forward to answering any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, use the Q&A button. You can send those in at any time. Up next, let's hear from Bennington College.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Tony Cabasco, and I'm the Vice President for Enrollment at Bennington College. So thanks for having me here tonight. So I'd like to start off telling you about Bennington by just showing a picture of our beautiful campus. Bennington is located on 440 acres in the foothills of the Green Mountains in the beautiful state of Vermont. And you can kind of see the Green Mountains there in the background in this photo.
Tony, you haven't shared your screen.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. I've done this before, I promise. That's hilarious. Okay, I'll get going here. Let me, can you all see that now, folks?
Yes.
Great, thanks. So just real quick, the first picture, I just wanted to kind of show you just a sense for the map of where Bennington's located. We are in the southwest corner of the state of Vermont, about 45 minutes from Albany, which is the state capital of New York, and the nearest major airport. About 3 hours from Boston, 3.5 hours from New York City. You can grab a train in Albany and be in Penn Station in the heart of New York City in less than 3 hours. So pretty accessible to those major areas. So about Bennington itself, it's a quintessential New England liberal arts college, but it's also breaking the mold of that traditional liberal arts college from the beginning, and still retained that spirit in its DNA. It started with kind of a bold idea of progressive education that combines self-directed learning and a hands-on experience in the field. We really have taken to heart the notion of a place that connects our students to world experience on and off campus and to great experiences beyond the campus. Today, it's a vibrant community of 750 undergraduates, diverse, creative, bright folks who come from all over the country and around the world, and bring with them their sense of adventure to Vermont. And we are a residential campus, as you can see, in that sense of community happens in small classes and also in the houses that students live on. And that community that's built extends to the network of alumni. And we connect those students to alumni who are admired as change makers, groundbreakers, and culture shapers. Alumni who have won Emmys, who have been awarded the MacArthur Fellow Genius Grants, and have won Pulitzer Prizes. So in terms of our academic programs, we also break the mold that we go beyond majors. We call it the plan process. You basically design your own major. It's the plan process is self-directed. It's our self-directed learning model where students start with their inquiry. What question, what do you want to learn? What question do you want to study? And it's guided by a faculty committee that helps you design your coursework over the 4 years, and including helping you come up with your senior project, your advanced work in your senior year. That's fostered by our innovative and flexible curriculum, where it's an open curriculum. There's no required courses. There's no core courses. It's a dynamic curriculum that every term, about 50% of the courses will be new. And it's also innovative, allowing student interest and faculty interest to drive what we call pop-up courses, which might be a 3-week course on a topic of interest. One example from last spring, summer was with the unrest that was happening in Belarus. We had 3 students from Belarus at Bennington, 1 who was on campus and 2 were home during the pandemic. And because of their interest and passion, there was a course in democracy in Belarus taught by a faculty member. And we had students on the ground in the country giving some firsthand witness experiences about what they were seeing. So that gives you a sense for the kind of innovation that can happen in our flexible curriculum. I also mentioned that we connect students to broad experiences around the world. It's through our fieldwork term, which is a 6-week term between spring and fall semester. You're required to do one of these annually, so you have 4 fieldwork experiences at least in your time at Bennington. This could be an internship, a work experience, volunteer, or a research opportunity somewhere around the world. we were the first liberal arts institution to integrate classroom study with an annual field experience. So here pictured, you've got Stephen, who was a senior, did an internship with Google down in New York City. Elizabeth, a recent graduate who was in Washington, D.C., doing an internship with Senator Bernie Sanders. Some of the internships are also partnerships that we've developed. They're funded, that allows for a program like the Museum Fellows, which is combining the 6-week term and also the spring term. It's a 5-month study away where you have internship and work and field work at one of 10 museums in New York City. The Population Health Fellowship is a new fellowship that was just established to work with the Southwestern Vermont Medical Center for students to learn how to perhaps transform the delivery of healthcare in the US. So that gives you a sense for some of the field work. And I think the outcome of that is we've really fostered a community of makers, of students who, by the time they graduate, will have had a chance to publish a piece of writing or produce an album, perhaps exhibit a piece of art in a show, perform in front of a public audience, or present a research paper of some sort. You'll also find then that 6 months out of graduation, over the last 5 years, our students are employed, enrolled, or in a service program or in graduate school. And I think that's the reason why 10 years after graduating, about a quarter of our alumni have started their own business or organization. And it's the reason that Forbes has called Bennington one of the most entrepreneurial liberal arts colleges. So if you're kind of an out-of-box thinker, a creative person, someone who likes to be innovative, and someone who likes to break the mold, I certainly hope you consider Bennington, and I would be happy to answer other questions you might have later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you have questions, use the Q&A button. For a specific school, name the school in your question. Also, check out the chat for great information that the representatives are sending you so you can follow up with later. Up next, University of Puget Sound.
Hi, thanks everybody. Give me just one moment to share my screen. Okay, hopefully that did it. So thank you very much. My name is Tori, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the University of Puget Sound. We are a national, independent, small liberal arts college located in the heart of the beautiful Pacific Northwest. On our campus, we have about 2,200 undergraduate students, plus another 200 or so in our 4 small graduate programs. So at 2,200, that actually kind of puts us on the big side of small schools, but we think that's actually a pretty great advantage because it allows us to offer a really fantastic array of academic programs, including a full school of music, a strong business and leadership program, a really nice range of STEM majors, and some great interdisciplinary programs, things like bioethics, neuroscience, international political economy, environmental policy, global development studies. I mean, there's just a really great list for you to take advantage of. And we're able to offer that because we're a little bit larger. We have a few more faculty members. But I want to make it clear, even though we're a little bit on the big side of small, we are still very much a small school with a student to faculty ratio of 11:1 and an average class size of 17. Our classes are small and engaged. Most of them are going to be really discourse based. So you're going to do a lot of talking with your fellow students and your professors. And it's worth noting that every class and every lab is taught by the professor, no TAs or grad students. So you really have that opportunity to work closely with faculty and really build those relationships, whether it's in the classroom or the lab or office hours or the coffee shop or whenever that is. There'll be lots of opportunities. So, you know, the classroom experience, pretty awesome at Puget Sound. But it's worth noting that we spend an awful lot of time trying to get you out of the classroom for things like academic research, internships, study abroad, community service, that type of educational, experiential education, I should say, is really vital to the Puget Sound education because it not only provides you with that experience for your grad school application or your job application, but those experiences that you have out in the world, you're going to bring back into the classroom. So it's kind of win-win for everybody. And I will say our location is really perfect, a perfect place to get all those experiences. We're located in Tacoma, Washington, which is a city of just over 200,000 people, nestled in the busy Puget Sound corridor. So we have Seattle, just about an hour to our north, and just to our south, even though it's not marked on the map there, about 45 minutes to our south, you'll find Olympia, which is the state capital. So we are in the heart of a pretty busy urban corridor, and that means that you have ample opportunities for internships and research, from the tech of Seattle to the government in Olympia, and an awful lot in between right in Tacoma. You're seeing downtown right there. But we know that people tend to choose Puget Sound not just because of our access to the urban, but because of our access to the great outdoors. So we are, certainly urban to the north and south, but to the east and west, we are pretty much all mountains and forests and national parks. The Cascades, the Olympics, Mount Rainier, and of course, Tacoma sits right on the shores of the Puget Sound, the body of water that gives us our name. So if your interests run to the outdoorsy, we've definitely got you covered. So hiking, climbing, skiing, camping, kayaking, canoeing, scuba diving, all of those are really easily accessible within about an hour from campus. And some like those water things, much closer. And it's worth keeping in mind too that all of that outdoorsiness, not just for fun, but really great for research and internships as well. With all of that going on around us, no surprise, our students do stay really busy. Over 100 student-run clubs, 23 Division III varsity sports, vibrant arts culture on campus, and a really friendly and supportive student body. It's a great place to be. And I will say, speaking of our students, they are really smart folks. They are, Puget Sound is in the top 10% of schools nationwide in terms of our students who go on to achieve PhDs. And it's also worth noting too that our medical school and law school admission rates are twice the national average. So our students really do go on to do great things, and they're very well prepared. I am just about out of time, so I am going to let you just see that lovely picture. And I want to hit two things very quickly. We are a test optional school, and we have academic scholarships that you will automatically qualify for when you apply. Those range up to $30,000 per year. You don't have to do anything extra to apply for those. And of course, we also have talent-based scholarships in music, theater, art, and debate. So if any of those are passion areas for you, please know that you are absolutely welcome to apply for those scholarships as well, and need-based aid, of course, as well. We will just ask you to submit a FAFSA. We would love to have you come and visit. We do have on-campus visits available in at least in limited quantities, and an awful lot of virtual programming available to you as well. So I will put my contact information in the chat, and hopefully we'll be able to connect with you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Use the Q&A button to ask them, and check out the chat for the information that the representatives are passing along to you. Up next, we'll hear from Loyola Marymount University.
All right. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm really excited to share with you a little bit more about Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. My name is Riley Wilson. I'm also a proud alum from the class of 2012, where I graduated with a degree in history. The first thing I do want to note about LMU is our Jesuit identity. LMU is a Jesuit university. And this is a term that a lot of our students don't even fully realize until they are attending LMU. So I'm going to briefly explain that the Jesuits are an order of Catholic priests who founded our school. But more importantly, being a Jesuit school means we have a strong focus on integrating education, social justice, and whole person spirituality into our campus. And this is both inside and outside of the classroom. This identity is really going to influence our LMU mission, which is broken down in these three pillars you see here. We have the encouragement of learning, education of the whole person, and service of faith and promotion of justice. To put this simply, at LMU, learning really goes beyond the classroom, and that students are really encouraged to seek out experiences outside of just these classes that they might be enrolled in. And by also committing to that education of the whole person, LMU gives an educational experience that integrates the mind, body, and spirit. So in addition to just growing academically, students really develop these interpersonal leadership, professional skills while they are here. And this always happens through campus clubs, organizations, working with our faculty, athletics, the arts, you name it. Our students are really, really involved. And finally, when it comes to that service of faith and promotion of justice, LMU is going to really challenge you to discover your beliefs about the world as a whole. Like I said, we are a Catholic school, but we're also really proud of our spiritual diversity on campus. And the amount of Catholic versus non-Catholic students is actually 50-50. So outside of the classroom, our students are really committed to social justice, and they're really involved in service in the greater Los Angeles community and beyond. To share a little bit about our academic experience, we are what we call a medium-sized school campus. We have less than 7,000 undergrad students. So our medium size is a huge part of this LMU experience. And we're large enough to offer a wide variety of opportunities, but we're also small enough to have that really personalized learning experience. So what this means is our average class size is about 19 students, and this allows for that real direct contact with professors. Professors always get to know their students by name. You could maybe have repeated professors throughout your time here. And a student was just telling me the other day that with virtual learning, she's an engineer student, she was working on a rocket project, and the teacher actually came and met her at a park to help her with that project. And that's just one of the many stories about how individualized and personalized our experience is. On campus, you're always going to see familiar, friendly faces, but you're always going to be meeting someone new. So it's kind of that Goldilocks approach where it's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right. We offer 61 majors and 55 minors, plus various credential and pre-professional programs, which are organized into the 5 undergraduate schools and colleges that you can see here on this slide. Now, I do want to mention our location in Los Angeles because we're a bit more west in LA, which makes us a little bit closer to the beach cities, not necessarily downtown amongst the skyscrapers that you might be imagining. We're also in a self-contained campus in a residential neighborhood. And this is going to be a really great situation because as you can see, this map is not to scale, but we are mere minutes from the beach and the airport. If you still want to get into greater Los Angeles by going downtown and whatnot, that's all easily accessible as well. Below us on this map is a newly developed Silicon Beach, as they're calling it, which is home to some of these fastest growing companies like YouTube, TikTok, Google, and more. So there's plenty of internship opportunities nearby for all of our students, regardless of major as well. Now for fun, students are taking advantage of our location by trying new restaurants, going to the beach, Malibu, Santa Monica, and again, taking advantage of those many entertainment options like concerts, movies, you name it. So again, all easily accessible, but still a small enough campus community up on our bluff, as we like to call it. On top of that, those students are heavily involved, as I mentioned, in our campus clubs and organizations, and there's a lot happening even right on campus. The average student is going to be involved in multiple organizations by their choosing. None of it's required or mandatory, whether it's Greek life, service orgs we have, intercultural and diversity organizations, and plenty of on-campus jobs. There's over 200 campus organizations, and that number is always growing. Now, to walk you briefly through kind of our application timeline, we have a few different phases and deadlines to be aware of. Our early decision is going to be binding, and early action, which is non-binding. Those are both due by November 1st, and then our regular decision and a second early decision are going to be due by early January. This is last year's chart, so you can expect next year's chart to be very similar. But on top of that, I really encourage you to stay in touch and try to join us for some of our virtual events and panels that we're offering right now. The best way to learn about LMU is actually hearing from our LMU students. So we're offering student panels daily where you can ask all the questions about the LMU experience. So by joining us here, you can sign up. They happen all the time, and we're happy to help you with all of your questions. Feel free to reach out as well to admission@lmu.edu, and I can help you out directly there too. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to invite all of our representatives back on camera and to have their microphones on. I'll get to play talk show host over the last 5 minutes or so of this session, add a little more information besides the great info that was shared about each of your institutions. And we'll have you answer in the same order that you presented, and a very relevant question to everyone who is attending this. What one piece of advice would you give someone going through the college search process right now? We'll start with Case Western Reserve University.
Well, boy, do I love this question, and I'm just honored to be with all my colleagues with all these wonderful institutions. And I think if I was in the audience, it would be daunting because there are so many great choices. And frankly, we're all paid to say good things about our schools. But what I really want to tell you is that, getting into the school that you choose is not the prize. The school isn't going to make you who you are. You're going to use these schools as a vehicle to become who you are, and realize that in a selective admission process, it could be daunting, but you have so many great choices and you have so much to offer. So I hope you keep that in mind and enjoy this process. Again, we know it can be daunting, but you have so many choices and it could be so much fun. And I wish that for you. So I hope that helps.
University of Denver.
Yeah, I use this analogy a lot, but I think what students in your shoes forget is that a lot of the power lies in your hands, and that, again, you have a ton of different options. So it's just your job at the moment to start browsing through those. But in the end, we're the ones that are waiting for you to choose us back. So just know that you have a lot of different options, and it's just it's really important to make sure that it's a good fit for you. So make sure that you're getting on the campuses, you're trying it on for size like you would a good pair of pants, and make sure that it's just the right fit for you. And again, you got a lot of options and you're going to do great.
Scripps College.
Yeah, so my advice is to keep doing what you're doing. Keep coming to these sorts of events and learn about colleges. Do your research and your homework sooner rather than later. Senior year is a lot. It's amazing. It's bittersweet. It's beautiful. It's fast. And there's a lot that happens. And you want to be able to savor those moments and enjoy them. So do a lot of your legwork of thinking about, like, really reflecting on what you want your college experience to be. Think about that stuff over the summer and you'll find those places, build your list, and then hopefully your senior year will be a little less stressful, and then even less stressful when you make your final choice next April.
Bennington College.
Yeah, well, we want you to proceed in this college search. That's important, but it should not be the only thing that you're doing or obsessing about. So we would not wish that upon you. We would want you to be interesting to yourself and interesting to other people and interesting to us. And so the advice is that, you need to take the time to do this well, to reflect, but please don't have this be the only thing that you eat, sleep, and dream about. There's much more important thing and fun things to do, whether it's soccer practice, preparing for a musical concert. There's volunteer organizations waiting for you. There are Netflix shows to binge, and there's just life to be led. So it's okay. We understand. Do the college search well, but balance that out. One of the tips students and parents that worked for us in our family is that with my oldest daughter, we had a dedicated appointed time on a weekend to talk about the college search when it was her time to go through this. It was just helpful to know that we didn't have to bug her during the week and she didn't have to talk to us about any of that stuff. So that's a tip that you might find helpful.
University of Puget Sound.
Well, such great advice already, but I think that my biggest word of advice would be to not get caught up on the perfect. It's so easy during this process to want to craft that perfect application and prove to that perfect college that you are perfect, and that's just not life. That's just not reality. So kind of give yourself a little space to just be the real you in your application. Chase that one college, but kind of take the blinders off. Don't be so caught up in that perfect journey with that perfect school, with that perfect acceptance rate, that you miss out on some great schools that really, really want you, and feel like you're a great fit and it would be a great fit for you. So, just enjoy it, and keep an open mind in the search and then once you're in college as well.
Loyola Marymount.
All great pointers. So I'll just add on by saying that while it's important to think about your major and your career, really take that moment to get to know the people and the students and the staff at these universities and colleges, because that's going to be your new home. So the more that you can learn about what that actual experience and community and culture looks like, the easier of the time you're going to picture yourself being on that campus. So collect that information as well and ask the questions about what it looks like being there Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and what the things are happening outside and inside of the classroom.
Well, thank you all for sharing that great advice to give students going through the search process right now. And of course, thank you for sharing all the great information about each of your schools. I want to thank all of our attendees for joining us for this session. When you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/BACS. Once again, thank you to all of our representatives for joining us and presenting during the session. And thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday evening. Have a great rest of your Wednesday and take care.